Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy, 30 plus years as a professional comic book artist and many more years as a fanboy. And I'll go to my grave a fanboy because comics are cool. And why did the Inhumans fail? It wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, every issue had major talent. Only lasted 12 issues, and the follow-up continued in Captain Marvel, the Kree version. Opening introduction by Doug Mensch. See, what I liked about the Inhumans is, like the Fantastic Four, they were a family. They were like all cousins and stuff like that. And they had superhero trappings. They looked like a superhero team. And that's what drew me to them. Also, Black Bolt, he was super powerful. He could go one-on-one with the Hulk, just like Submariner did. And I would have loved to see Black Bolt fight the Submariner. That would be really, really cool. This cover by Kane is so wacky. It's so wacky. It's like everyone's kind of scooting aside to make room for everybody else to fit on the cover. Gil Kane, he had some home runs, and then he had some that were just really bizarre. That's really cool how he directs the eye. Every month, Gil Kane would go into Roy Thomas's office at Marvel, and they would, during lunchtime, they would bang out the covers for the month. And Gil Kane would do some quick doodles, and then he would follow through when he came home. So right now you're starting off with the young superstar George Perez, who went on to fame doing Avengers and Fantastic Four and the occasional fill-in, even Marvel 2-in-1. So here we go. I'll go off and say Frank Chiaramonte, I don't like his inks. It's sort of like tracing. Like, see how her hips and her arms are just flat? A little contour there, and a little more contour on Black Bolt and everything. It kind of, like, Perez was really up and coming. And when Joe Sinnott inked him in Fantastic Four, it was wow. But it's not horrible. But there's Maximus the Mad, who is Black Bolt's brother, and what happens is he's the leader of the Inhumans. He is the chosen one, and it's a long story. He faces heralds. You may admit the first supplicant. Iridia comes in. She goes, Great Black Bolt, I am honored to bow before your presence and grateful for this opportunity to explain my plight. As you can see, I am ugly. I've been thus since the moment of my birth, and I have suffered every moment of my life. I no longer wish to suffer. My liege, I no longer wish to be ugly. And she's just upset about it, and she says, talks about the Terrigen Mists. It's I know that the Terrigen Mists, by long tradition, are used to bestow great powers upon deserving members of our race, and I realize that I have done nothing to distinguish myself and cannot be judged as deserving, but I ask to be immersed in the mists, not to gain power, to become less ugly and short-tempered. You gotta have a short-tempered character in every superhero team. What you request is impossible, Iridia. To even suggest that we profane the exalted mists in the name of your vanity is unspeakable. Furthermore, Gorgon, I think you should best hold your tongue. The wall, my liege, and he opens up. What does he open up? You'll find there is Blastar, who I first saw in, I think, Marvel's Greatest Comics with the Fantastic Four. Love the guy. He's super strong, and his only power is a great power. He just blasts these huge, these powerful bolts from his hands, hence the name Blastar. And they review it. I love this. Marvel was so, they always kept track of what the last villain did, and he had fought the Human Torch and a Hulk, and there was a brief period where the Human Torch was the lead character in Marvel Team Up instead of Spider-Man, but I guess the sales weren't there, and it was a drag because I kind of liked it, just to change things up. Let me see. So they enter the hall where the Terrigen Mists are. It's all right, Iridia. Step forward to the gene chamber. In his silence, Black Bolt has decreed that you should enter. The Terrigen Mists are interesting. That the last 10 years, they've actually used it as a plot device with the Inhumans. Back when the X-Men was, the rights were with Fox, and he kind of diminished the X-Men, and he wanted the Inhumans to be the new X-Men, to take their place in popularity, and it never happened. So Black Bolt decides, love this. This is very 70s with all the panels. I like it not. It establishes a precedent. There's Karnak, not Johnny Carson, but Karnak, and she struggles to free herself. Blastar is given orders from his masters, who are not explained who they are in his first issue. A little mystery there. He gets attacked. Someone has passed on towards Attilian, some with awesome power, Leonis. So they're having a debate, and a cocoon forms within. By the genes of Agon, Black Bolt, I know I protested use of the mist, but surely action as severe as this was not necessary. Black Bolt, please, in some way you must answer us. Have you entombed her? So he turns away, refusing to even sign. And then this big old thing comes from the underground. Even Black Bolt is stunned. They're trying to study it, and he looks down and points at Triton. He's a fish man. It's pretty obvious. He can swim underwater. And he has these tubes on his arm that keep him hydrated, which is pretty clever. Really clever. That was a Kirby thing. They're trying to figure out what's going on. Look at that. And the other thing, too, is whether it was George Perez or Gil Kane or Keith Pollard or whoever, they gave Black Bolt this sense of steadfastness, like he was the leader and there was no question about it. So they seek whatever the source is. Here comes Leonis and the other guy. All of a sudden, he's like, blah, 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 blah. I say it's a wild story, a ruse to get away from the machine, and the machine knows is a known threat. He's just a real dick, and he always is. Blastar is attacking Attilian, and they get this cool rocket sled that's kind of like the Fantastic Four one, but not exactly. And like I said, this is Perez early. This is within a year of him working. So Medusa, using her living hair or the hair she can control, he tries to grab onto Blastar, and that's a great scene. She's struggling. Gorgon's. She sends off the pain. I can't bear it. I love that the sled lands in a disastrous way. Now, Inhumans 2, this was my first issue I found. I didn't find issue 1, and the distribution was a little wonky at times. There was some books I'd see and some books I'd miss in between. But this was my first one. And like I said, he really grabbed me. That grabbed me too. Look at that. Perez is just What an imagination. So we got Fred Kita as the inker, which is more agreeable. It's not a home run, but it's not for lack of trying. So it reviews what happened. And you know what? I never minded that. As long as it was relatively short. Very cool, very cool. Okay, got you some action. And I advise you not to try and use your powers, or need I point out that both your hands bound upward. Any power blast you unleash will bury you and as well as us under the falling ceiling. Like hothead versus hothead. Arr. Arr. There we go. How about that, baby? That's a thrilling. And look, he has people in his scooping hand. Well, they both scoop actually. And he's just there to destroy as many Inhumans as he can from his master. Black Bolt speaks. He has the power that if he speaks, even lightly, it can obliterate a mountain. Over the years, it's been kind of questionable. Like he could do it softer and have a lesser impact. I don't know how. He must talk like that. And anyway, crash. Why you? It's Karnak. He has the power to basically sort of karate chop, find the weakest point of anything and hit it. And really cool stuff. So you get these Inhumans taste good. They taste like golden grams. I'll go a little faster. I'm reading the whole damn thing. So what happens is Iridia comes out as a butterfly. And I remember the drugstore I got this at. Black Bolt doing a great cover there. At least he was the master of the cover. When Gil Kane couldn't do a cover, all of a sudden Rich Buckler was called in. How about that for a splash page? Look how the body language. Mike Esposito, he puts a little bit more meat on the figures. And she's hanging on. Great stuff. Bam, bam, there goes the debris. ZW. That's kind of neat. I would have, listen to me, George Presney's no correction. And here we go, but it's behind the whole story. At least it's that one page. There was this other book I was going to review, but it was blah, 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 page to page. So they decided to go to the Fantastic Four building, Baxter building. Love those colors. So it's Shatterstar, not the Rob Liefeld character, but the original Shatterstar. And I love those colors. Here he goes, Black Bolt. Love that alien. I love everything about this. He's really going out of his way. This is Vinnie Coletta, who I think does a respectable job on this. I really do. His bolt gets stopped because of Lockjaw. Your best friend Lockjaw. See, Swak, that's a very superhero-y type thing. Okay. Now, I've showed this before on my previous channel, where basically Italian's taken over by Maximus the Mad, and Black Bolt is very dispirited. He's dizzy. He screams, and then his scream destroys Italian, stops everything. and everybody gets pissed at Black Bolt. So he comes out with this big he hides himself, and he writes this long note of apology to the rest of the Inhumans. Wow. Has Karnak ever looked that good before? I say thee nay. I'm jumping ahead. A trip of doom. A trip to the doom. Hey everybody. And this is... We're back to Gil Kane, inked by Don Perlin, who was up and coming. He had drawn comics before, but he started Marvel in the 70s as an inker, and his inks are fantastic. Really, really strong. He inked George Tuska for a while, and it was some of the best inks. So what you have these two cities battling, and they're both in the shape of a beetle, and they go around and round and round. And it's really weird. It's, if you read the whole thing, explanation is there. George Perez, Don Perlin, we're still singing with these great artists. Oh, here we go. Very, very Bronze Age. Karnak's feeling a little down because he just feels like the runt of the litter. At least he didn't scream, thank Aegon. Talking about Black Bolt. Even if the nature of your ability is essentially constructive, Karnak, you've often put it to constructive use. Why, if you hadn't been able to locate the weakest spot of the somnambulators, that's what I call them, and shatter it, where would we be right now? That's enough, Triton. I don't need you to patronize me. I was feeling useless. I don't need your gallant reassurance of my basic worth. Just leave me alone. I have my own problems. And patronizing was a word every superhero team used at the time. It's just, they always had one. Great design. I love that the two cities, the two beetle cities are in there. We're City Battle City. That's a great idea. There's Black Bolt. Now we have Keith Pollard. Oh. Hold on a second. In only 12 issues, it's actually 11 issues. Why, you say? Well, it's the old... Oh, yeah. I would love to own that page with the Black Bolt kicking some ass. Well, number 9 is supposed to continue the story, but instead it's a reprint of Amazing Adventures 1 and 2 with... So, good old Bronze Age reprint. I liked it. It's just like, oh, come on, guys. And the book was February. It was bi-monthly. And it's like a lot of these books at the time were bi-monthly. It's like, how do you get late on a bi-monthly book? So here comes Keith Pollard inking himself, and it is fantastic. I became a fan instantly. And later on, Keith Pollard would do Thor, he would do Fantastic Four, he would do Spider-Man. So he, you know, they appreciated him, and he delivered the goods. Good thinking, Triton. I'm over my self-pity for now. He nods. And we go to the next issue that is inked by Jim Mooney, which is good. It's a little too polite in places, but I think that friggin' badass cockroach character. Love it, love it, love it. Gorgon gets a short temper again. Love that. He's a superhero, sorta. Well, the Kree decided to send this, for lack of a better word, power beam to turn this character, this Kree character, into, I don't know, some super strong character who has all these abilities. And what happens is, Oop, jumped ahead. Come on. Miraculously avoiding any touch of city steel, striking instead a form of a lowly city denizen, a cockroach, and thus are some villains born. Look at that design. Love it. There's a rock concert going on at Madison Square Garden. There's noise designed to injure one's ears. I don't know, Karnak. I find someone infectious. He's tapping his feet, his clothes. Do you realize what you're doing? Relax, Medusa. I'm just enjoying myself for a change. Don't be so whoops. So, Black Bolt gets out. That's a great touch. Here he comes, Cockroach Man. There goes Karnak releasing the weapon. That's really sweet. That there. The way Karnak's been feeling so inferior lately, it's best we not interfere. What's he doing with that car? Like, look at the power and the body language. So Black Bolt saves that guy within the car. And you're still alive. My scepter was set at optimum intensity. You can't be alive. You can't. Oh no. There you go. Wow. The air will burn between them. Great line, Doug. Oh. So, this Kree character has been hanging around the Inhumans. He uses Pest Eliminator. And that's a very Kirby pose, deliberately so. And so, Salvation Army, Inhumans disguise themselves. Would you believe the Hulk? It's an Al Milgrom cover. Let me show you something really cool. See those teeth? They say Alan Milgrom. That's great. Really great touch. Okay, Keith Pollard and Bob Wyatchek. I'm not thrilled with the combination. I love that she makes herself a parachute. They really come on and give her a lot to do other than just grab bad guys and toss them around. And to cover up Karnak's big old head, they give him a head wrap. That's amazing. Here comes the Hulk. He gets all stressed out. Karnak hits the weakest spot. Ha! Are you done, little human? Not knowing it is an Inhuman. Are you done now, puny human? Good. Hulk is tired of you. And Black Bolt zaps him. Wham! Black Bolt's my main man. And Hulk gets taken down. He gets up, and Karnak comes towards him. The police aren't as smart as you are, Hulk, but that doesn't mean we should hurt them or that we could be friends. Do you see? Hulk starts to feel better. You green too? You say that Hulk, you are the Hulk's friend, and maybe Hulk not smash. We are. We're all your friends. Hulk feels better. Enemies would make Hulk feel better. Would not make Hulk feel better. And he takes off. And to be conditioned in the pulse-pounding pages of Captain Marvel, well, I'll decide that. I was by Captain Marvel at this time because first it was Steve Englehart, and then he went over to DC, and then Scott Edelman took over, and he's a real interesting character. I don't know how much he's written, but I just liked the way he wrote. It was just kind of different. That's what it was. And Terry Austin inking Al Milgrom. And Milgrom is very hit or miss. He's truly dependent on the inker. Because when he inks himself, it's woo. It's not strong. It's not that great. But you got yourself some Terry Austin, young Terry Austin too. So this builds up to his cosmic awareness. Nice cover. But hang on. Rick Jones' old buddy from the Kids Brigade, which I loved, they're all grown up now. So this guy's a cop, and they do different things, and they have real lives. And I like that touch. So, cosmic awareness time. That was kind of weird. 2 pages between the cosmic awareness. Here we go. Okay, shut off the chair. You were starting this war for the good of the Kree, Fedor. Look at what he who would have destroyed you all. And turns out I am a Skrull. So he calls off the battle of the 3 galaxies. And that's it. And shitty ending. It was just there should have been more build up. It's just like thud. It really is just a thud. And it adds Fantastic Four Annual number 12 with Bob Hall, Keith Pollard as the artist, Bob Wycheck inks. And it's really mediocre. It's just there. Oh, and then they use backups. This was in What If number, around issue 30 or so. The Inhumans had a backup story in the double-sized comic What If. And Peter Gillis wrote it, and different artists handled it. But, God, it's so boring. It's painfully boring. It gives you a whole background there. There's a Alan Weiss Quicksilver, which I would never give Alan Weiss Quicksilver. He's a fantastic artist. I loved his stuff. But, his faces and his figures are kind of static. And, hey, baby. And when he runs, it's the weirdest effect. Instead of doing like multiple images of him running, it's just like this skitter effect. It's so weird. Oh, hang on there. Hoo-dee-doo. 27 minutes. And that's Medusa by Barry Smith before he became Barry Windsor Smith. How about that? Wow. He's already thinking Alphonse Mucha at the time. It's really amazing for him that young. I wish I had these full size. They were full sized in one of the Fantastic Four annuals. What you can do? I mean, they've already done how many pages? 308. They could have stuck a few more in there. So, the reason it failed is because for several things I've mentioned before. Well, let's review. Paper shortage, flooding the market, price change, that's 30 cents, and that killed a lot of books. Len Wein was, or Ween or whatever, he was editor-in-chief, and he had this list of like all these titles that had to be canceled because of the price change. And believe me, it's like 25 cents to 30 cents was awful. I mean, I hung in there because I was a geek, to my bones. And so I hope you like this. It's really great. It's really great. I hope you can find it at a reasonable price. So I'm glad I got it. I have the original issues too, but I just thought it'd be interesting. I mean, more efficient to do it this way. So, okay, I'm going to end shy of 30 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you could find this in another format, or the individual issues at your local comic shop, that'd be great too. So you don't have to fork over, $70. That's it, everybody. Take it easy, pals.